All right, what's poppin' YouTube? So we got Monday in the books here. These are the main markets that again top-down approach I look to focus on, where they came in. Let me just clean this up a bit. So they came in today. We gapped up again. This was the Friday where we kind of short squeezed right after lunch all the way up, and then we closed. And then as we're not done buying, bam, and then we just came in, gapped up, tried to go lower, and then they bought it up. But we're stalling right where we should, essentially, right around these. I mean, you can kind of get cute with your trend lines, but basically, you want to try to have the most touches, basically. So here we're bouncing off the fib. I use fibs in my trading, essentially, and then moving averages and some other stuff to support my uh, biases or what have you trades. So now the market is still holding this zone. So this line right here is very important on the SPY, uh, essentially. Let me go ahead and delete this. So again, I have not really added much long delta because we're in no man's land. Just as easily as we could maybe go up and test, we could roll back over. So there's more information needed. Things aren't that really great out there. This is a 1 hour chart. If we go to the daily chart of this, there's so much unfinished business below here. All these are VPOCs where price, has a memory. And there's some gaps here. So gaps here. So if we do get some selling for once, it could be accelerated to the downside. Now, we haven't had much volume. There was some volume here on this hammer that could have been shorts covering. You don't know, but today's volume wasn't that great, and most of the move happened, you know, when nobody was around. So all this move happened after 9:30. So, the regular trading hours, we didn't go that much. I mean, basically, you could see the move here from here to here. Um, and then from basically here to here. Uh, so we came back 3%, but again, a decent chunk was Friday, and then you had about 0.7% here, and then what was today's basically low to high roughly? You had about a 1% up day, which the futures finished, but they trade 24/5. So again, this really is like a no man's land here. If you look at the daily, um, the momentum, you know, you I'm not buying. I'm not trusting this rally basically. Because for a few reasons, but the momentum is one. If this was a big gap update, this thing should have shot up with it, and it didn't. Essentially, so I'm still on the fence. If we go look at some other markets, these are bonds. Some people trade bonds, some people don't. What have you? Um, these are in a giant wedge. And again, as you can see, I have here going up or going down versus what the market's uh, scared of or worried of. We're in this big, again, this wedge right here, what have you, triangle, whatever you want to call it. Are we going to break up and go? If so, again, that would be a growth scare. The market would be worried about growth, the bond market. If we hit our head and start to roll over, then that would mean the market is worried about inflation and inflation, which it's fucking running hot. I mean, we have 3% inflation, and he's going to probably try to lower rates, but I doubt it. And the whole QE thing and the repo, most people don't know what they're talking about on FinTwit, just a bunch of tards. But there are some things brewing, but the Fed is the only institution. I mean, other central banks can, where you can just literally say, "Oh, I need money," create it out of thin air, and then go pump it into the markets, and then you save the liquidity. So there's almost always a get out of jail free card, but again, there wasn't really one in 2019 when we had that correction and COVID. So we'll see how that plays out. Another thing that's in play here is the dollar, which is basically flagging here, and looks ready to go higher. And I am bullish the dollar. I have been long the dollar since basically July and August. I've been long, which it tried to go higher here, got shot down, built its base, tried to go lower. But again, there's been every low that's been bought on the dollar. So now the dollar is looking like it wants to go, but you can see about the momentum. The momentum's going down. This is not ideal. So the dollar could be in a bull trap where the dollar is going to rotate down and break this low right here, 26. area. If that happens, that would be Coinbase, crypto should get a bid, um, and then also um, again SPY, QQQ risk would be back on. So if that's going to happen, so what's the dollar going to do? It's holding its fast moving averages, which is near term bullish. And again, it's tried to go down and they denied it so far of going down. So if the dollar goes up, it's not good for risk assets. It'll suck the liquidity out, and then usually would probably see a sell off in SPY and IBIT, Bitcoin risk assets essentially. So we'll see what happens there. IBIT, I'm long this, and I'm hoping to try to get more long and build more of a position, basically because it's holding what it should. But again, the moving averages have the sell signal printing, the red paint, and the sell signal. So this is something that's not. It's more bearish than bullish at this point. It did make a new high with everything, but it's tough to tell. You can see the volume isn't really there relative to the higher volume. See how the volume up here when you're rallying? It's kind of been below and mostly, I mean, a little bit came in here, but it came in all on a red day. So again, like a mixed bag on the cryptos. Oil, I'm looking to possibly get a long in, or maybe short it. It depends on if it gets under 60, 69, 68, gets under here, that may take us short. But right here, it has a high, lower, a higher low after a high, kind of a new high, but not really. But again, this higher low holds a lot of weight, in my opinion, for what I look at. So if oil can go ahead and do one of these bad boys, pulls up, gets a close or a higher low above here, and then goes, that would be the signal to then jump into a long oil, long energy, which I believe natural gas also could fit that bill. Which natural gas is right here, essentially, and you can kind of just mark these tops right here. So you can see the market is trying to hit its head, but it's holding up and it's above the key moving averages. So I'm long UNG as well, but planning to build a longer position using at the money calls. So maybe 30 delta calls. So that might be maybe the 15 strike. I know the Greeks offhand, 16 strikes. So some out of the money calls, but not too far. With 6 to 12 months duration, and then loading up on shares as well. And natural gas will go up. If all these AI tards data centers, they don't even have the energy. That's what nobody's talking about, and they're not going to get it. So there's like a shortage of nat gas and ways to power these data centers, or turn on these semiconductor machines or what have you. There's just no energy. So again, this is like a supply and demand type play, but I just trade off charts and technicals, and this is making higher lows, trying to break out. So you nibble long, and then if you get your confirmation, you get your close above, and then you just press it, and then again manage that risk. Gold, I'm short, but I was long. Again, I shared that in the other YouTube short. Check out the YouTube shorts. I'm trying to be more active there. Where gold gapped up, but again, it's still got a ways to go. If we get up above 390, then maybe we're going to go make another leg higher. But I think gold could be setting up for a bull trap where everyone buys into it. It makes a lower high here and then sells back down, or at least that's my forecast. So I'm net short gold, but again, I did have some longs, still long, but I did manage some in, and I'm basically long dust. And then lastly, here is the commodities, which commodities are trying to break out. They keep trying to break out and then not break out. As you can see, I have this trend line. I'll just update here. So you could see it's like respecting this uptrend line and this downtrend line. It tried to get above it, came back in, got way above it, came back in, tried to get above, came back in. So this is another market that could be in play. If commodities go up, that's not good for people and inflation. It's actually really bad, because that would mean all these things get more expensive. Coffee, cattle, corn, basically the food that we eat, which is the groceries that we buy, which are already out of control. But if you're Trump, you don't see inflation. I don't know what he's smoking. So again, I still think this goes higher. So if we get commodities higher with the dollar higher, that would be an interesting dynamic. But we'll see what we gonna get. So if we go into some other names here, here's the mags, which again everything kind of looks the same because everything's basically NVIDIA is in the end. Look, here's SPY. Look at the price action. They're basically all going to look the same. Here's QQQ. One will be a little bit stronger, one will be weaker. Here's MAGS. Same exact pattern. Here's XMAGS. So this has no mags in it. Same exact pattern almost. Here's semiconductors. Very similar pattern. Here's topped. This just tracks the top names, top 20 stocks. I think by market cap or something. And look, similar pattern. And then this is the basket XLK of the tech stocks. Here's financials, a little bit different because weaker, because all these have the tech effect or the NVIDIA effect, the semiconductor effect, the semis. It's just that plain and simple. When you see something like financials, there's no tech. So look, it's not as strong relative off its high, just different pattern. And then here's basically Tesla and Amazon here. And then here's Meta and Google. Very weak. Communications is weak relative. You could see healthcare. This was beat up, so of course you're going to get a rally because it was so beat up. Small caps, not looking good. Broke the rising wedge. I would like to short the shit out of small caps if the opportunity presents itself, which would mean basically breaking down under here. Essentially, would be one of my short signals to then engage some shorts on puts. Obviously, puts get more expensive as they go down, so they're buying up here is cheaper, but you could be early or wrong. So I'd like to wait, but it does depend, on your strikes, your deltas, what you're looking at, duration. As you could see today, all the shitty names that got sold off just got bought back up. Is this new money longs or short covering rally? Anybody's guess. But NVIDIA up almost 6%, Palantir up 8%, almost 9%, Tesla up 3%, Apple flat. What the hell happened to Apple? That thing is like dying on the vine. Meta's in the shitter. It's trying to get some bids. I wouldn't mind getting along some Meta, but again, you could be catching a falling knife. You wouldn't really want to do that yet with Meta there. And yeah, let me see what Meta's anchored VWAP looks like. But yeah, you still don't want to get up in a mess, essentially, based off where these red and green lines are. It's just another thing I'm comparing with context. But yeah, Meta's not going to be one you want to knife catch here yet. Amazon looks decent. Again, it had the earnings. It gapped up, filled that gap. Google was strong today as well. Here. And then, yeah, you can just look at the rest. AMD only goes up. MU, another one, only goes up. It's crazy how they just will buy this thing no matter what. But here's another signal, like divergences. So you see, look at this momentum. It's making lower highs. But look at price. It just gapped up. So this is something I look for tells too, where this momentum plus the volume is kind of like, hit or miss. It's up and down. But then you have this going up, so this is a divergence because price is going higher while this is going lower. And usually if you break out to new highs on a gap up and a big green bar, that momentum should be screaming through the roof. Kind of like it was through here. You see how momentum made a higher low here, and then it ripped up as it went here. That's what you want to see. You're not getting that here, but it doesn't mean it can't keep going. But again, it's not a strong breakout or buyers at that point. And then two other things I track just to see the context is the equal weight index, the Nasdaq, which again had a decent day, but I mean very lackluster volume. I mean look at that bar, tiny teeny. And then the last one will be RSP that I cover here, and I'll just call this a day. Which again, RSP is looking precarious here. It broke down, even closed below a couple, but again, the buying in 25 is relentless because they think, oh, anytime you get a dip, we'll be saved because, Powell, baby. but we shall see if that happens. Um, so yes, so that is the basically the main market summary, which again I usually try to focus on a top down these main markets just to see what things are doing. These are basically the main asset classes. If there's any missing, let me know. I could probably add HYG, but HYG and TLT are kind of similar. This is just my get a blanket summary of the different, again, asset classes. And this covers them all, essentially. But yeah, anyways, we'll see what we're going to get here. The Globex opens at 6, and then see how we continue for the rest of the week. I just want to check out the SPY volume again. Yeah, so not too much volume coming in on the gap up either, and the momentum is way down as well. So we'll see. But again, the dollar's in focus. Oh, and another I'm going to build longs in is copper right here. Copper looks like it may want to go higher. Um, and if it shits the bed, then we'll just liquidate and move on. But so far, this looks pretty bullish. Gapped up today with the markets. See if that pushes up or shits the bed with gold and silver if they do as well. Which gold, again, gap up just like copper, SLV, very similar move as well. So like I said, most of these things will look identical. They'll just have different percentage moves, but they'll mostly trend the same way. Similar with SPY, QQQ, IWM, and then the DIA, which you could see the IWM small caps is by far the weakest of them. So anyways, good luck out there. I'll be back. Cheers.